Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Layton. As the U.S. presses for greater sanctions against North Korea, analysts believe North Korea is preparing for possibly a fifth nuclear test. With us now is Congressman Ed Royce. He's the chairman of the Armed Services, the Foreign Affairs Committee. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Leslie. Good to be with you.
So you believe that greater sanctions will help prevent worse escalations on the behalf of North Korea?
I do, and here's why. We tried this in 2005 when North Korea was caught counterfeiting U.S. $100 bills. At that point in time, sanctions were imposed by the Treasury Department, and it literally shut down the ability of the dictator at the time to pay his generals, not a good position for a dictator to be in, and it shut down their weapons system because they couldn't buy the parts they needed, like the gyroscopes they needed for their missiles and so forth. We talked to defectors out of the missile program that authenticated this. I've been in North Korea. I was in Macau, China, with the Bank of Macau. When those banks were closed, because they were given a choice between doing business with the U.S. or North Korea, that's a death sentence for banks. So they all decided to cut off their operations with North Korea. This bill that the President recently signed of mine will do this again. And the reason we're doing it is because North Korea is rapidly approaching the capability of putting a miniaturized nuclear weapon inside an ICBM.
Because they've also tested rocket launchers that would be capable of launching such a weapon. Now, you talked about the banks in China. What kind of response are you getting from China? They're not completely on board.
No, they're not. But the last time we did this, the consequence were that all 11 banks made the decision to cut off all trade with North Korea. And in this particular case also, China itself is sort of conflicted because they have asked the dictator, Kim Jong-un, to stop his provocative activities. One of the things he did was to kill his uncle, who was closer to Beijing, and then killed all of the sons and daughters and then the grandchildren of the uncle. This was taken by the Chinese as a very aggressive act because that was the one government official or advisor who had been close to Beijing. So I do believe that Beijing will back us in this because first, they don't want the hit on their financial system, and second, it's not in their interest to see an arms race where South Korea and Japan and Taiwan all rush to develop a nuclear weapon because North Korea has done it successfully, along with the delivery capability. So I think now is the time to do this, and you can tell by the countries in the region and their response. First, South Korea moved forward to cut off their own trade. They cut off the Kaesong Industrial Complex, which was the only trade they had with North Korea. Japan did the same thing. So other countries are already piling on with legislation.
But we've also seen in the past that North Korea has a habit of a tit-for-tat sort of response to any sort of behavior or sanction. Some fear this could escalate things to an uncomfortable. You talk about his possible ability to be able to, launch a nuclear weapon.
The reason we're doing this is to stop him before he gets the capability where he actually can conduct the launch of a three-stage ICBM, which would hit the United States, which would have in it this plutonium. Now, he's restarted his plutonium factory or capability. And so the goal is to shut him down now and send a message to everybody else that the international community won't move in this direction. Also, I would tell you that this passed unanimously in the Senate, 96-0, and in the House we passed it 415-2. And the President has signed it into law, and that is because I think everyone who's looked at this have decided the President's policy of strategic patience has not really worked. And now we have to go to something that will work.
Thank you very much.